Oh, from New York, New York, you are listening to Extratime, driven by Continental. Oh, man, it's good to be back, guys. It's good to be back. Andrew Wiebe, David
It sounded
Goff,
like you burned your toe.
Matt Doyle, my partners in soccer. It's been a tough couple days. I'm not going to lie to you. Thanks for taking over for me on Monday in these interesting times.
I think we give you an applause, Wiebe, for soldiering through and being back with us.
Yes, I was a little bit under the weather, and we'll talk about that in just a second. We hope you are, of course, washing your hands, staying indoors, social distancing, away from people, doing what you have to do in these, in a time when we all have to band together. Now, there is some news before we get to what is a big and fun show today. I've spent literal hours of my life trying to put together an expansion team for a city that will not yet be named while Doyle trolls me via text thread. We have Benny Feilhaber coming up. He retired just before the COVID-19 crisis hit all of us, and we want to do some story time with him, maybe brighten the mood just a little bit for you as well as us. But first, some big news for Major League Soccer. This just came down. It is 11:13 a.m. Eastern on March 19th. That is a Thursday. In case you're having trouble, as I am, figuring out what day of the week it is at all times, Major League Soccer has announced that it is extending the suspension of all matches with the targeted return date of May 10th. That is in accordance with Sunday's guidance from the CDC, the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, to cancel all mass gatherings of 50 or more people for the next 8 weeks. MLS says it remains intent on completing the full 2020 season schedule. So that's 32 games. We've already gone through week 2, of course. We got a little bit of a taste. We'll see how that all shakes out, but we have until May 10th at this moment to wait until the season resumes. But let's all be honest. We don't really know what's going to happen here. I won't profess to know what's going to happen here. I'm in the same boat as anyone listening out there. This news is new to me at this very moment. And I'll just throw it out there. I had mild flu symptoms from Saturday night through really yesterday morning. I was worried. I was scared. I spent a lot of time on the phone with my providers, and I'm very fortunate and privileged to have, trying to either get tested or get treatment. And I was told to stay in my home, as I'm sure many other people are. I'm here for 14 days. And I'm happy to be here, and I'm happy to be feeling much, much better. But for anybody out there who's not feeling well, who is maybe feeling well and thinking about going outside, do what you're being asked. Do what's safest for the most vulnerable among us. We all have a responsibility, and I'm just happy right now that I'm feeling a little bit better, but I'm thinking about all those out there that aren't. So if you guys have anything to add, feel free to jump in. I guess we have some soccer to talk, and I have a expansion team of Doyles to rip to shreds. So maybe Cameron will make an appearance. I can hear him back in the back room with Mindy right now yelling about something. I don't know what.
The cats are lurking as well, though I think one of them has gone to his sleeping spot for the midday session. So, but we'll see. We might have some special guests on this show.
Last time we recorded, it was like we started at noon, maybe 1. And Doyle's cats were in their afternoon nap as well. So it feels like that's just a full day sleeping session, no matter what time we record.
There's a reason why I relate to these animals.
I wish my son related to those animals a little bit more. He is destroying this apartment.
That's one of the universal things because like a lot of our friend group, it's about 50-50, right? Some have kids and some don't. And the people that I know with toddlers are like, it's been 4 days and I am reliving a different level of hell every single day so far. And I'm like, I slept 8.5 hours last night. It was okay.
Yeah, you probably had a couple drinks at night, whereas I'm like the Blair Witch Project. I'm like hiding in a corner. And I'm like, oh my God, if it finds me, I'm dead. If it finds me, it's all over. Help me. Shaky camera.
Guys, we got dressed up last night. We went to the Met Opera.
Give us the review of the Met Opera.
So the Met Opera is streaming. They are streaming one free show a week for the rest of the week. So if you download their app on Roku, Amazon Fire, any of that, you can go to preview, you watch it. They give you the full, it turns out they're 2 hours and 40 minutes long. which is a lot.
Opera. It's an opera.
It's an opera. We got dressed up. I put a suit on with a tie. We had some cheese, some martinis. It was good. It took like 20 minutes because I had no idea who anyone was.
Mm-hmm.
And everyone speaks in abstract about everything going on around them. And when you have the text on the bottom, text comes up, you read the sentence. They then proceed to sing that for like 45 seconds to a minute. That's how long that 4 words take. But it really got me enthralled. I was locked in. It was good.
What show did you see?
I don't know.
You don't remember the show?
Oh, no, it was the one in Italian with a lot of singing that was dramatic. You know that one?
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So now that I'm back on the show, it's my job to nip these things in the bud and get us on topic.
Let me plug. The other streaming thing you should know about every night at 8 p.m. on the MLS YouTube channel. So that's youtube.com/MLS. We have a stream of a classic game. We kicked this off last night with the second leg of Sounders Timbers in 2018 playoffs, which was the only Zarek Valentin remembers that away goals don't count in extra time game.
Which also Jeff Attinella was live, was watching at the same time and had a live IG on his penalty kick saves and how he was going through that experience.
And he did very, very well on those.
Yeah.
I think he guessed right on all 4 of them, I think. Which is...
He didn't guess right on Handwala Bawana because he had literally, as he said last night, never heard of him. Or never seen him play. One of the two.
But anyway, every night, 8 p.m. on our YouTube page, and we'll be in the comment section on that. So you can come bother us in the comment section.
So tonight is DC Orlando, the Rooney play, by the way.
Yeah. Well, come on. The Rooney play, the Lucharoo play. Come on, let's give Lucharoo its credit, okay? It's also on Facebook too, so if that's your preferred method of watching these things, go ahead and do it. I'm going to be there. I'm going to throw it up on my TV and be in that chat with you. So before we get going and do our expansion teams, which I am so excited about, the level of trash talk has been extremely high from Doyle. This one thing we have to do first, because it's coming out on the site here. It's your favorite MLS player of all time. And I'll start, and I just want to preface mine by saying that when I put the email through, Charlie Davies emailed me a series of GIFs just roasting me, just saying, like, what, bro? Are you dumb? Like, why would you choose that? My favorite MLS player of all time is Roger Espinoza, Red Card Roger. The reason being that I wasn't a late adopter of Major League Soccer, but I started watching in 2006, summer of. And Roger was one of the first guys that I was able to kind of latch onto, drafted by the Kansas City Wizards in the first round. He'd been at community college. He was at Ohio State. He made it to the Wizards. He played left back, D-mid that first year, and he went into some questionable tackles. And I started covering the team for free, just trying to figure it out as a young journalism student. I was like, okay, I'm going to go get to cover professional sports, and I was like the only one there. And Roger always gave me time, but more importantly, when I watched him play, I saw somebody who just was like, reckless abandon was their middle name. Like, I'm going after it, baby. I'm doing it. And then to see his career progress and flourish and help Kansas City sort of reach the levels that they sustained for the last decade and make a change and go to Wigan and win the FA Cup and go to World Cups. It just was, for me, for a guy that you would never have bet on. You know, immigrant family, goes to community college, Honduran, kind of not from a clear and obvious pathway in soccer stardom. To see him make a career and the career he has made out of that was so awesome. And then he's just a great dude. You just want to be around him. He has a magnetism to him. That's why he's always on the field for Kansas City. I really think their last season, a lot of their struggles were because he was out and the tone that he set. So Roger Espinoza, shout out to you, my guy. You are my favorite MLS soccer player of all time. Feel free to roast me in the comments and or on Twitter, as Charlie has already done.
Weeby, is Roger nice to you in person?
Yes, Roger's nice to everybody. I've never seen Roger not be nice to anyone.
Have you ever played against him? You ever done like a small side thing?
Dude, my ankles barely hold me upright as it is now. So like, there's no way I can be on the same field as Roger Espinoza.
Gasman, who's your favorite?
So I think we talked last time about our oldest memories. Similar to Weeby, started around 03-04 with MLS. When I was a kid, we used to go to Long Island Rough Riders games as well as St. John's games because the Red Storm were pretty good. So I saw Charlie Joseph play in college. He's a Brooklyn native. He then played for the Revs, and whenever I would go to MetroStars games at Giant Stadium, It felt like they played in the playoffs every year. And he was one of the first players that you could feel in the stadium. Like you felt him physically dominate. You saw him cover the ground and was like, you were sitting in the stands blown away by what he could do. And then it felt like it didn't really look hard for him. Like he always looked like he was relaxed, effortless. Coming into the league at that time, I'm a fan of teams that don't win. I don't care that the Revs didn't win. Going to 4 championships to me is winning in its own right. Yep. And I thought he was the centerpiece of that. He played center back when he needed to and was the best player on the field. He played center mid, which was his natural position, and he played center forward at times and was arguably one of the best players on the field. So to watch him play and getting into the league and like learning about the world of soccer and where people are from and the different things that come together in this sport, like he was an awesome example of a guy from the Caribbean who moved to Brooklyn, like Weeby said, went to community college, transferred to a national powerhouse for just 1 year, showed up on the Revs and was a starter like day one. I was always a huge fan of him. And I think you guys notice this, throw him in whenever we have best of convos because he gets left out too much. So I got Charlie.
Can I just say one more thing about Roger?
Oh yeah, of course.
Roger, yeah, sorry. I was just I was thinking about Charlie and the way he moved around, the way he moves around the field. It looks so smooth. Everything looks smooth that Charlie did. Whereas Roger, I felt like he looks like a hyena. Like that 50-50 ball, you see him running, you're like, oh my God, there's aggression in every bit of him. And that's what I like about conversations like this. It's not just who they are as players, it's those little things. It's like, how does this guy move? Like, I can identify with that. I like that. It makes me like root for him. And I agree with you, Dave. Charlie had that to him, but his was just a smoothness, just an ease to it, but with power.
And you see it now. He coaches Granada, and you see it in the way. Sorry, Grenada. Yeah, Granada. No, Granada. You see it in the way they play a little bit of like confidence to play at a moment. The other thing I'd say about that, Weeby, is I think soccer is the most personal sport in the way you play is reflective of your personality, which is why I think players take it so personal when coaches believe in them and don't believe in them and all that stuff, which is why it's cool to say like, who's your favorite kind of shows what you like and what your personality is and what you attribute to quality and success and stuff like that.
Doyle, let's go.
Let me start with a Charlie story real quick. He played for UConn or played for St. John's back when I was at UConn. And I remember watching, these were 2 of the 5 best teams in the nation at that time. And I remember watching him come to Stores and just dominate a game where that UConn team had like 5 future MLS players, guys who went out to great, and like Charlie was head and shoulders above all of them. That was his last year in college. And then he didn't get drafted in the first round. Or maybe at all in that first. I don't remember exactly what his path was, but it wasn't like a clear path to MLS. And that's when I remember thinking like, oh man, there are some problems with how this league values local talent that they're going to have to
play your kids 01 edition.
It wasn't even, it was like 98. It's like, if this guy is not considered in like an MLS caliber talent, then the people making decisions are wrong. And more often than not, they were in fact wrong back in those days. But to go back to what you were saying, how the way you play shows your personality, Clint Mathis is like, he like Clint Dempsey is not the U.S. men's national team Clint with the most talent or swag. It was actually Clint Mathis. The stuff he pulled off, like he scored a solo 85-yard run, weaving through 6 different Dallas Burn, as they were at the time, defenders for the Metro Stars in 2000. And then like 4 years later, he did that exact same thing for Hamburg in the Bundesliga. He hit the single best pass in U.S. men's national team history, that assist to Josh Wolf for the game winner in the first 2-0 in 2001. If he doesn't do his ACL a couple months after that, he goes to Bayern Munich. Like Bayern Munich was putting up multiple millions of dollars to buy Clint Mathis. Like he was so freaking good. He was one of the few attackers that we've had in program history who could not just win a game by himself, but who could actively dominate it. And he did it I mean, he did it on the biggest stages, and his career just changed because of the fact that he really, really liked Doritos. That man really liked Doritos.
I got to tell you, I really like Doritos too. I'm finding out.
Let me throw a quick Clint Mathis story in, which is I've talked to some of the people who were on the Metro Stars in 02 when he got back from the World Cup with the goals, with the Mohawk, and they said he was like the most noticeable guy. And they said it was the first time they could roll up to a club and everyone would just get waved in right behind Clint Mathis if you were with the man. So he was definitely a legend inside circles as well.
One of my biggest regrets of sort of my soccer fandom is that I came 4 years too late for 2002. I wish that I could have experienced that middle of the night, South Korea, Japan, that run, young Landon, young Run DMB, Claudio Reyna in his prime.
Did you watch that? Did you watch that compilation?
I did watch that compilation of Reyna that went out this last couple of days. I mean, I had plenty of time, right?
Shout out to Sanjeev. Hold this up, King.
Yeah, that's one of my regrets is that I just didn't quite get there in time to be a part of that moment in a communal sense. All right, before we get to Benny Feilhaber, who is waiting very, very patiently before daddy duty, this is maybe the best extra time mailbag prompt of all time, at least in the reactions that it has elicited from us, because as I've mentioned, we've been going back and forth in the text thread. Freehold United on Twitter. ETR expansion. You each get a franchise. Hold a joint press conference to announce city, name, crest, colors, kit sponsor, first DP signing, and the #1 expansion draft pick for each of your respective clubs. We've also added a couple things here. We added the weird local tradition, a la the Golden Spike or the Nashville Record thing or Wonderwall or, you know, of course, the Portland Timbers and their log slab was one of the originals, if not the original in this genre. I'm going first. Should I go first?
Yeah.
Doyle, you're last?
Yeah, I'll bring the hammer.
Okay. All right. Here we go. Prepare yourself. I've spent more time on this than most of the columns I write for MLSsoccer.com. Don't tell Simon Borg that. Do not tell him that.
You know we're getting a text from Ben in T-minus 2 hours.
Yeah. Oh, work ethic. All right.
It's a spot on Ben, by the way.
Yeah, that was pretty good. Welcome to Boise, Idaho. Beautiful Boise. It is a population in the surrounding areas, Nampa, Boise, Meridian, of a little bit more than 700,000. We do not have a professional soccer team now, and I'll tell you why I chose Boise before I give you the sell on all the different details. Because I went to Boise one time with my college girlfriend for her father's wedding, a wedding at which I drank far too much and fell asleep in the middle of the hallway at her father's house. And,
did you break up at the wedding?
No, but shortly thereafter. But it was beautiful. We went to the mountains. We went whitewater rafting. We, did all these beautiful outdoors things, and it was a cool city too. All the times we went out, I had a great time. And plus, Boise State is there, so I have a large population of young people. The name of our club, Treasure Valley SC. It's the Treasure Valley. It's 5 different counties there. And it's kind of like Crystal Palace. We're just going to be called Treasure Valley. Little bit. So, welcome to Treasure Valley. That's how we're going here.
I like this.
The ownership model, apparently I'm filthy rich now. But
obviously, yeah.
In my benevolence and desire to create a community asset, I will not be the sole owner of this club. We're going hybrid Green Bay Packers model here. Of course, Green Bay are the only publicly owned, not-for-profit Major League professional team in the United States. I'm going to front 100% of the money here for the expansion fee, infrastructure costs, the facilities, the stadium, all that stuff. And then anyone who resides in Treasure Valley can buy shares from me up to 51%. So my hope is that the community, over years or maybe even immediately, will own the majority of the club, and I'll hold on to 49% because, come on, I still want to have a good...
You're still a rich guy, yeah.
Yeah, I want to have a good chunk of this, right? So, crest and colors. Why mess around? We know what works in Boise. We're going blue and orange like Boise State. No, we're not doing that. That's lame. That's weak. We got to come with our own joints here. We're going brown and gold. Call us the Spuds. We're the Spuds, baby.
Treasure Valley Spuds.
No, we're not the Spuds. Hold on. Well, if you want to call us the Spuds, I'm okay with that.
We're definitely calling you the Spuds.
Fine. Think of those
You
Colorado.
You can have a partnership with Tottenham.
No, we want to win. Think about Colorado Caribous. You remember those Colorado Caribou joints with the fringe? That's definitely going to be sort of our third kit. We're in the West. We're in Idaho, baby. So think Padres, maybe, University of Wyoming with the brown, the gold/yellow, and then blue is our third color because the Snake River, the Boise River, it's so important there. And then it's also, that's the flag, the city flag, that kind of like royal blue. So that's our kind of our third color here. Our crest is a peregrine falcon, striking prey, like wings wide, striking its prey. And that's going to be the brown there. And then in the background, you have the cliffs of Boise around the Snake River, and that's where they roost. And then a sliver of the river where they get their prey. That is blue in the background. Now, the reason I'm going peregrine falcon here is because the Morley Nelson Snake River Birds of Prey National Conservation Area and the World Center for Birds of Prey is just south of the city. They brought the falcon, the peregrine falcon there, back from the endangered list, and they're working to do the same for many other raptors. So ours is the peregrine falcon. And I'll
Wait, this is awesome.
Yes, I did a lot of research. The jersey sponsor is Patagonia because they match our values. Environmental sustainability, the outdoors, giving back to the community. We're all about that, and Patagonia is too. So, of course, the lifestyle in Idaho really lends itself to this. Our coach.
You got to watch out, though. Your jersey might become a uniform for the Wall Street Bros.
Yeah, we're going to – yeah, that's true. No vests.
Which, incidentally, is the name of Gasman's team, the Wall Street Bros.
Okay, here's another one. So, as Doyle trolled me repeatedly, Boise has the largest Basque population in the U.S. They have about 15,000 people of Basque descent, and Basques were initially drawn to Idaho because of the discovery of silver, because that was a mining area. So they were involved in the mining, they did ranching, they sold beef and lamb to the miners. So our head coach, currently the manager of Real Sociedad B, is Xabi Alonso.
Oh!
He's first team. Here we go, Xabi. You coming our way. Follow the footsteps of Thierry Henry. You know this can work, my man. So Xabi is the coach. His first assistant is whoever he's got at Real Sociedad B. He's got to bring his boy with him. And then we're going to have Marcos Sena as his second assistant. Knows the environment, Spanish, Brazilian, straddles a few different places. Our midfielders are going to be in a great environment. Connor Casey is our other coach because I don't know what he's doing now, but he feels like he belongs in Idaho.
He can bring the Durango up.
Exactly. And then Joe Cannon is our goalkeeper coach and our community ambassador, a.k.a. designated beer drinker. He is the only MLS player I could find with any Idaho links at all. He grew up between Idaho and California. Our general manager, Chris Henderson, we hired him away from the Sounders. I know he's a Washington guy, but it's close enough to be close to home, and he gets to have his own project there. Our academy, we have less than 15,000 youth soccer players, so it's going to be tough. We're going to have to recruit from afar, but we got Xabi Alonso, so they're going to want to come, ultimately. We're also going to scout USL Championship hard. We want Mark Anthony Kays. First DP, Alvaro Morata. I think Xabi Alonso can convince him. He's 27. Maybe it's kind of ending for him at Atletico. He's going to get goals. We'll be really happy with that. If he refuses, Iñaki Williams is our second choice.
Nice.
There's no way he's leaving.
I know. We'll throw a bag of cash at him, man. But that would give us both Sociedad and Atletico to have both sides.
Why not Xavi Martinez?
That's a good. That's a good call. Continue. That was a good call. Andres suggested Andres Herrera, and I said keep the trash DPs for yourself.
Whoa! Yeah, yikes. Did we just lose Weeby on that? Did Weeby just dunk on Anders and get hung up on?
No, are you guys back?
That is the ultimate producent moment in each
I hit
Anders just deleted Weeby from the show.
I hit my limit on social media for the day. Why? I don't need that anymore. Nobody needs that anymore. Anyway, let's keep it going here. My first expansion pick, Justin Glad. Justin Glad is my first expansion pick. I think he could be available for me. We're going to gamble on him to get back to his peak. He's going to be our rock for years to come. If he's not available, maybe Jack Elliott is available. And look, he went to West Virginia, so he'll come to Idaho. Okay? Here's my okay. I'm really proud of this part. Our stadium, the nickname is the Nest. The Nest. It is going to be built to look like a nest. You remember the Olympic Stadium in Beijing? Now that was made out of steel. This is made out of cross-laminated timber. It's the new environmentally friendly choice. You can literally build skyscrapers from wood. So cross-laminated timber. This is going to look like an actual nest. And we're going to have multiple custom spots built in for actual peregrine falcons to roost within our stadium. So that's the starting point here. Now, the Riverside supporters section is called the Roost. We got green space everywhere, trees built into different nooks and crannies, anything. I don't know. We'll hire somebody to do that. I don't know much about landscaping, but somebody out there does, and they'll get this done. The location, downtown along the Boise River, north side. We're knocking some stuff down that nobody cares about. At least they don't know that they do. It's across from Ann Morrison Park, a beautiful public space. You can walk over the bridge from there. We're west of Julia Davis Park, where the zoo and art museum are located. We're a couple blocks from downtown, where all the bars are. It is walking distance from Boise State, so the students will come. Everybody will come. It is right along the Boise River Greenbelt as well. So if you have your family, walk straight into the stadium. If you like, with your friends, whatever it is, enjoy that part of it. And you know what? We're also a block from the only human rights memorial in the entire United States, the Idaho Anne Frank Human Rights Memorial. That's the inspiration for the sort of club that we want to be. Everybody's welcome. We're community first. We want to be a part against any struggle against injustice as a group. 22,000 capacity. That's 14 less than Boise State football. So we're going to pack this joint, no problem. And we're going to have a blue field. That way, when you're watching, you know it's Boise. Nah, I'm just kidding. We're not going to have a blue field. Come on. We're not dyeing that field. It's beautiful, green, pristine grass. And then our weird local tradition. I'm a little upset at LAFC. I'm not going to lie. They don't deserve that peregrine falcon love. That should really be our gimmick. But since they're doing that, and I don't want to take that away from them, and we have wild ones in our stadium anyway, so we already win this. The MVP of our season gets the golden spud. It's a golden potato. Now, the MVP of our games just gets a big old burlap sack of Idaho russets. And then if we win the game, the MVP gets to fire a decked-out potato cannon over the supporters section into the Boise River. So there you have it. Treasure Valley SC. That's my club.
I am in awe at the amount of work you put into this, but I should have known, like, researching the minutia and the history of, like, a medium-sized U.S. city would be, like, completely in your wheelhouse.
That is exactly. I spent my wife watched 5 episodes of Love is Blind while I just literally read about Boise and Idaho and peregrine falcons. And
tell me again the plot of land that you have picked out, because I got the map open now.
Yeah, so you'll see
Doyle's gonna book a hotel.
You'll see the Boise Zoo, and you'll also see Ann Morrison Park. I can tweet out. I have a chart that I've built here. I'll tweet it out at a later date. But it's right here, right to the west of the 2 bridges, directly in the middle of the city. Boise State University is maybe half-mile away. Easy walk from Albertson Stadium. The nest is going to be. It's going to be something, baby.
I'm impressed, baby.
All right,
I'm
Dave.
Impressed.
All right, Dave.
Whoa. First of all, we allotted 15 minutes for this, and Weeby just took 12 minutes by himself. So let me just throw this all out real quick. So I wanted to first go something personal to me, and I was thinking I was going to do Wildwood, New Jersey, which is where I grew up. I grew up going there. But the person who threw this out there was from Freehold, New Jersey, Freehold United, so I felt like I couldn't steal that. So I went on the extreme in the other direction, and I picked the 3rd largest borough in the United States and the only capital that is technically an island, Juneau, Alaska.
Ooh.
Juneau is inaccessible by road, therefore it is technically called an island. You can only get there by boat or by plane. It is a population of 32,000 people, but because they had to make the land of the borough so large to make it one city, it is 3,254.7 square miles, which makes it larger as a city than all of Rhode Island and Delaware. We will be the largest city in Major League Soccer. and my team name is Boca Juno.
Oh, God, you just did this whole thing. You did this whole thing so you can make a pun.
Boom, 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 boom.
What is
I will be self-owned. I will be injecting cash left and right like it's my job. My crest is Atletico Madrid style, but instead of the stripes, it is the Northern Lights flowing behind a giant
I like
ice
that.
as my colors. Black and green are our away colors for the night, and the forest around our city, our home, of course, is white and glacier blue. Sorry, Vancouver Whitecaps. I had to steal a little bit something from you. Our supporters group, similar to LAFC, is going to be the 3,254.7s instead of the 3,252 for our square mileage of our city. Our stadium is the Tinglet name, the native local name for the area, which is Zontic Heaney. So you can call our stadium the Zontic or the Heaney, whichever one you choose. Our corporate sponsor is Chugach Alaska Corporation, one of the native companies created upon the settlement between the United States government and the native population. It is the third largest company in Alaska, and their logo, I swear, is a bird skiing. It is green and white, and it is a bird skiing. It is
Why isn't that your crest?
I can't steal it from them, but that's
true.
what's on our jersey. What do you mean?
I was hoping you would make a Bombonera pun too, but I'm left disappointed.
I didn't get through my stadium build yet.
I
just sent you guys the text of what our sponsor looks like.
Oh yes.
We'll have an indoor stadium, of course. Our roof though will be all black with dotted stars. When we win a game, we'll shoot a cannon of confetti that looks like the Northern Lights to cover the sky in victory. Our players, our traditional local thing, our players will come in, of course, on dog sleds. The dogs will be wearing the mascot jerseys instead of the kids. And they will come along on ice, which will then clear off. I have, of course, the video from the Alaskan minor league hockey team where the bear comes out of ice and flies a fighter jet, which I'll send you guys after. That will, of course, be our pump-up video. My technical director was actually going to be Chris Henderson because I believe in having MLS knowledge, and he's a local guy. Weeby stole that. So I'm just going to go all in and go Riquelme, Boca Juniors connection, the enganche that every team needs. I'm going to go young, even though my first DP is not going to be as young. So I'm going to go Leonardo Yardim as my head coach, a guy who has experience coaching young players. And my assistant coach is going to be current player coach in Azerbaijan, Michael Essien.
Oh, Michael Essien is in Azerbaijan?
Yep, 37 years old, assistant player coach.
What
He's
a
coaching
legend.
19s as well as playing center mid. My first designated player signing will be someone who will be able to adjust to the lack of sun at times and major dark quickly. He's from Sundsvall, Sweden, Emil Forsberg.
That's a good one.
That is a good one. I
And
like that.
he's playing with young guys, so he'll be comfortable helping develop them, helping bring them along. We want to play, obviously, up-tempo, high-press game. My expansion pick, though, goes to the ethics of my club, which is young players, giving them opportunities. And we're going to take Diego Fagundes off of the New England Revolution. We're going to find him a permanent starting position, and we're going to go from there.
I thought you said you wanted young players.
He's still only 23 weeks.
I know. I'm messing with you.
He's actually 25.
Yeah,
No.
I'm messing with you. Yeah, it's
yeah.
out of nowhere.
25.
Out of nowhere. I still remember that glorious season as a 16, 17-year-old, double-digit goals. Great
13
stuff.
goals, 8 assists, something like that. Yeah.
So that's my team. The rest of my roster is filled with guys from CONCACAF no one's heard of. Keisha Fuller from Costa Rica is our starting left back. Dory Romero out of Dominican Republic, our starting center forward. And then I'm just going to have Riquelme sign a bunch of super slow, talented Argentine 10s and play them at every single position.
Yes. I just was hoping
Juno.
I was hoping Diego Maradona would have to make his way up to Juno at some point, but
I don't think those two get along. I'm Riquelme all the way in.
Gotcha. Well, we have to get Benny in, and he has daddy duty here later on today, Doyle. So you're up. Roll us through it.
Yeah, so initially I thought I was going to have to fight Kalen for Berkeley, but then I realized that's too close to the Oakland roots, and I don't want to infringe on them. Then I thought maybe go up the road to Santa Rosa, California, because I love Santa Rosa, or maybe Sonoma, calls to Sonoma Winos. I loved both of those, but that's all pretty close to USL territory or Sacramento Republic who are coming into MLS, and I didn't want to infringe too much. And then I thought, what's a major market in a city I enjoy that does not have top division or second division soccer? And it's Baltimore. And then I thought about the fact that I used to love the Baltimore Bohemians team name and crest and history. What's going on, Cameron?
No.
So my first job.
Okay, bye.
That gets smart. My first job is going to be to buy the Baltimore Bohemians IP and revive that great club. You could see, of course, the crest. It's an homage to the Maryland state flag, which is, I think, pretty dope. The team colors, black, yellow, and red. Kit sponsor. This was an easy one for, well, I want to say I did consider Old Bay, which I use on everything, and it's a staple of the cuisine in that area. But I'm going with Figo Foods. Shout out to EG.
Nice.
He came in and he claimed it, and he also believes in the play your kids ethos that we will have at Baltimore Bohemians. That play your kids ethos will be led by my head coach Eduardo Coudet, who is at Internacional of Brazil, Porto Alegre currently, was great for a couple years, and Racing Club down in Argentina. I wish some MLS team had hired him, quite frankly. He, of course, spent a little bit of time with the Philadelphia Union and a lot of time with Miami FC, I believe. So he knows the U.S. He obviously has credibility around the globe. This is an easy hire for me, and his staff is whoever he wants. Director of soccer. I considered a couple names, but only one really stood out as right for what I'm trying to do, and that's Schließ. Hiring Schließ as my director of soccer. We need someone who's forward-facing and who will get the community involved, and I think he will do that.
Do you guys have a cigarette sponsor, or can he just smoke whatever he wants on the field?
No comment on that. Kids, you shouldn't smoke. My my club president and CEO, there was actually only one choice for this. The man who really put together a lot of my club plan, Matt Folger. You could hit him on Twitter at FOLG. Big Kansas City guy. And a consultation with Folge. My first DP, not going to go for like a sexy name, but like we want to win. So I'm bringing Yangel Herrara back to MLS.
I like it.
Herrara, the destroying central midfielder for Venezuela and now starring for Granada in La Liga. He's going to be my first DP. It also, having a midfielder like that allows me for my second DP to bring back Mauro Diaz, who was one of my favorite players in MLS history, because Mauro needs a bodyguard in central midfield. My first expansion pick, I want to stay local, and the best current professional player from Maryland is Jeremy Abobasi. This one's an easy one for me.
Yes.
And he's down to third on the depth chart in Portland. I just like the Justin Glad thing, Andrew. I think, it looks like there's maybe not a future for him at his current club as a starter. So I feel like I'm pretty happy with my spine already. Now, the tough one, as we all know, with clubs in cities is getting the stadium right. But Baltimore has the perfect location. If you look at downtown Baltimore and then just go straight south, you'll see the Ferry Bar Peninsula. The end of this peninsula is a giant building for AT&T, friends, AT&T. So we're going to work a little bit. I'm going to buy out that plot of land, and right on the very tip of this peninsula, I'm building a 25,000 seat stadium. It's going to look actually a lot like DC United Stadium because I love the steep curves, the standing room supporter section. I do want to bring back bouncing stands, though. And I know I'm ripping off a little bit of DC's lore right there, but it's important to me to have that sort of flavor. So right at the south end of the Ferry Bar Peninsula, that will be our location. As for the local tradition, as for the local tradition, Anders, let's run the clip. Besiktas fans, you're our inspiration.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
It's a flotilla.
Yeah.
It's an army of boats.
Yeah. So this is how when Besiktas fans on their game day, this is how a lot of them get to the game because their stadium is right on the water. So is ours. There is a strong ferry through the harbor down the Patapsco River culture in Baltimore. So this is how our fans are going to get to the games. They're going to congregate downtown, right by and leave from Harbor Place. And then you can see the map that we're going to put up right now, producing Anders. You can see the map that shows the route our flotilla of fans will take. And of course, because this is Baltimore, there has to be a tribute to John Waters of some sort. Each boat will have their very own divine impersonator leading the flotilla to game day. And folks, that's it, man. Baltimore Bohemians are back, hitting the high seas. Going to have the most beautiful stadium location in the league. Boise, it's on. Boca Juno, it's on. Let's do this.
It's not Boise. It's Treasure Valley.
Treasure Valley.
Treasure Valley.
The Treasure
baby.
Valley Spuds are trash talking.
Yes, it's like, again, it's like Crystal Palace. It doesn't make sense to people who don't know, but it sounds cool. Oh man, that's been one of the most enjoyable. That brought a smile to my face. Thank you guys. I hope everyone at home enjoyed that as much as I did.
Can I create this team on Football Manager? Is that something that's available in any of these video games? I haven't played video games in like 10 years, and
I only play Wheel of Time, so I wouldn't know.
Yeah, I have no idea. Anyway, we have got to get to Benny Feilhaber. He has daddy duty. So, without further ado, let's chat with Benny.
Benny, what's up, man? Thank you for joining us on these interesting times, let's call them.
Yeah, my pleasure, dude. It's something that I'm a little bit used to, so I'm excited to be on the other end of it now.
Yeah, we had to go podcast expert for this first Skype call-in episode.
Exactly. Benny's like guiding us through all that. He's like, try this. Click on this. Are you in the right program? Is that the right browser? Yeah, we haven't figured that out. If you hear any child noises, lunch is being made behind me. Benny, let's start here. I've been watching.
You can't put them in the basement like Benny's kids are?
Yeah, well,
come on, dude.
That doesn't sound. Put them in the basement. That sounds almost like. I don't know. That sounds messed up.
Yeah, that's the world we live in. Social distancing.
So in the time of social distancing, I've downloaded TikTok and I've been watching all of Alonso Davies on TikTok. But it occurs to me, Benny, that you were thirst trapping, and I'm not saying Alonso Davies is doing that. A decade ago, way before technology was really built for it. I watched all of No Air. You've been talking. I've heard. Like, how did you record that in 2010? And what does your wife think of that? And then I want to read you some. Actually, I'm just going to read them to you right now. Here's the comments on YouTube. He's Brazilian. That's why. He's just having a good time. OMG, I think I love him even more. LMAO, he's gorgeous. I can't believe I'm watching the same guy right now who I just saw play in the World Cup. Handsome. In love. That's the whole thing. It's on and on and on.
I know there's some negatives in there too.
Not at the top. Nowhere near the top.
Nice.
Well, yeah, dude, that whole thing was all by accident. The whole thing started for my buddy from high school. For whatever reason, he's, kind of artsy and whatever. And he wanted all of his buddies to like do this music video and like put it on a Facebook page so that he could get more people from our high school to do it. He just wanted to like get a bunch of people into it. And he said, Benny, maybe if you do it, other people will follow. So I do that. And by the way, we're the Olympics. This is during the Olympics. And we have so much time to kill because unlike what people might think, we are not at the Olympic Village, so we don't get to meet a bunch of people. Soccer, you travel around
how
all
would you
of
be
China.
How would you have been killing time at the Olympic Village, Benny?
Well, Olympic Village, you're at least not social distancing, right? You're actually interacting with people and getting to know people. And I'm sure there's plenty of stories that I would not know of, Matt. So that's what the Olympics, at least most people think have to do, is more to do with. But with soccer, we travel around the entire country from hotel to hotel. We're very isolated. And so I decided, all right, I'll do this. And in the background, Sasha Kleshin, who is my roommate, is watching me thinking I'm some kind of psycho. But I'm thinking, this is only going out to like my good friends, like tens of people will be able to see it. And obviously the time difference, I go to sleep that night after I like upload it to this Facebook page, wake up the next morning and I have over close to 1,000 notifications on Facebook. And I'm thinking, what the hell is this? And I go on and I realize it's a public page. Everybody can see it. I take it down. By then somebody's already like filmed it with their phone, uploaded it to YouTube. It's gone like viral on soccer websites. And I'm thinking, oh God, dude, this is terrible. And so, so then from then on, everybody kind of was able to see it. I couldn't get it off of YouTube. Once we played in the World Cup, it went to like 500,000 hits. It was crazy. Somebody took the original video, which didn't match up with the audio, and like synced it up better. And it was like, it was like really well done. And it made me look even, better lip syncer than I actually was.
What does your wife think of it?
I think she accepts me for the person that she found in 2008. So actually, I think I did that before I met her. So I guess she had to accept me anyway. So there we go. We got another one on the podcast.
Hey, can you go have lunch?
All right, Benny, I'm gonna follow this one up real quick.
Go
Now
have
you're in
lunch.
your new digital job. What have you learned as a host and a question asker that you would tell other players, or that would have made you a better player to be interviewed in the past?
Oh man, I don't know. I think we have a little bit of an advantage than you guys. Having played with a lot of the guys that we interview and kind of having that, same ground, same platform. So it is difficult. And I've always been an open person. If you ask the right question, I'm going to give you a pretty honest answer. I'm not going to say something that's going to hurt me in any way. I'm not going to, something just for the headlines that potentially could, hurt me in the long run. But I'll be pretty honest. And I think some guys are pretty reserved, and I don't know, man. I don't know what kind of advice I have. I don't know if we've learned anything yet other than, like we said, doing this on Skype and having Zencaster up and making sure that we get the audio saved. But in terms of the questions, it's literally like we got four guys that know each other on Skype and we just have a conversation. We kind of, as a group, me, Sal, and Ike go over some of the questions and things that we want to talk about. But, we talk as if we're just talking to our buddies.
It feels friendly until Ike corners someone into engaging proposing to their girlfriend in the middle of a show. Then it seems more aggressive.
Yeah, that's right.
Have you guys had anyone on the show yet that you actually weren't that tight with? Where it was someone who was like, maybe there was like a little bit of a rivalry, or maybe it just didn't have that much overlap. Have you been able to break down, I don't know, barriers that might have gone up? Basically, I'm asking you, are you going to get Beckerman on the show?
I think Beckerman would be great on the show. I'd have no problem having him on. I just don't know if I'm the one that's going to reach out to him. But anyways, I would have no problem having him on. I think, Tinnerholm with Sal, even though they don't really have any kind of rivalry, but Sal's been talking bad about Tinnerholm for long enough, and even though he doesn't know him. I would say that, when we did Emily Sonnet, none of us really knew Emily. And that was a really cool one to be able to talk to her and kind of go away from just the men's game. And so that was interesting, but it is easier, I think, in some way to kind of have a little bit of a connection, and not necessarily all three of us, but maybe one of us. And so, Alan Gordon, I could play with him for a little while. I know Alan, not super well, but he's been in the league for so long. And so, usually we have somebody that knows someone in some way, but there are, Emily was one of them. We're doing Jess McDonald tonight, which Ike, first met, doing the Black History Month bit with MLS, and so that'll be interesting tonight. But yeah, so we usually know somebody, right? I mean, soccer's a small world, and so we run, you know, through the same paths. But it's okay. I'd be okay with, you know, talking to people that we haven't necessarily met in our careers.
You guys got to do a
Subscribe.
Gordo spinoff show, by the way.
Yeah.
Just like let him go an hour at a time, once or twice a week.
That's what we've been hearing. The funny thing was we did Gordo, and then the next day he was doing the color commentary for
I know.
the Rapids. and they scored on the last minute goal, Drew Moore on a header on a set piece. I was like, it might as well have been Gordo in the game.
Yeah.
So BSI the podcast, if you don't know, we've tried to push it because it's such an amazing show. It's my favorite MLS podcast. Go subscribe, rate, download, whatever. I hear you say all those things, Benny. We still don't know whether ratings even matter, but apparently it helps people find the show. I need an honest story from you about the one time or the worst time you got on the wrong side of God. And when I say God, I mean Peter Vermes. What is it? Well, give me a story where you got on Peter's wrong side, because I think about guys like Stefan Avray, and there's so many others throughout the years. Like you just don't cross Peter in Kansas City and live to tell the tale. What's a time where you just had to pay a price?
Well, I don't think I've crossed it that bad then, because I've been able to, you know, live and tell some of the tale. So if I were to say a singular moment, there's been, I would say somewhere in, I think it might have been 2016 or maybe 15, where there was one time I just would not allow him to, I would not agree to what he was saying one time in training. And it was him and Kerry both trying to tell me the same thing. And I'm like, no, that did not make sense at the time and whatever. It's kind of a hard story to describe. And I mean, they were pissed at me, but you know, because it's kind of in the heat of the moment, I think it was a little bit forgiven. But a better story, in my opinion, would be my first year there. And I came in, you know, and I knew that, you know, Peter was a tough coach. I'd coached, I had played with him in the under-20s, albeit he was with an assistant coach, so a little bit of a different role for him. But I knew he was going to try and get the best out of me, and I wasn't going to be able to get away with stuff. And I came in as a starter. He brought me in from New England, and I played, I don't know, the first 10 games or something. And it was against Portland that we lost at home 3-2. And after that game, I wasn't a starter anymore. And it was, you know, it was difficult to accept because in my mindset, it was a team collective fault for us losing that game. It wasn't on any one player. And sure, I'd been a part of it, but there were other guys that were still playing and had been at fault for that game. And so it was hard for me to kind of wrap it around my head why I kind of did the self-pity, and that didn't work with Peter. And so that the story ends with me kind of realizing that I'm not getting back on the field unless I change the way I think, I change the way I play. And maybe even then, who knows when he's going to give me another opportunity to really, you know, get back on the field and start. I was coming in off the bench some games, but not starting. And that year, which eventually was the year that we won, but that year I started going to 24-hour fitness twice a week after practice to get extra fitness in, because if I ever got the chance to get back on the field as a starter, I wanted to not have lost my fitness. And that's always been my biggest weakness. So, I mean, Peter got there, you know, settled in, parked inside my head. And I knew that was my one chance. And so I just kept doing that without knowing if there was going to be any kind of benefit at the end of it. And thankfully I got an opportunity come playoff time. And after the first game, we lost in New England 2-1. I started the second leg. We obviously won, and we went on a run, and I started every game after that and had, you know, a pretty good playoff run and culminating with our championship. So that was the best story, I think, of Peter not really giving in to me and me kind of having to realize that some things needed to change.
I still remember that little slide rule through ball to Dom Dwyer. Beautiful. I was told by a source that first story that you started to tell was you talking a lot at training and then being told to go to the second team and then not getting to start after being a starter for a long time because you didn't stop talking. Is that source false?
I can honestly tell you that I talk so much in practice, or just talk in general, right? That I cannot remember it like firsthand, but that sounds as 100% true. So I won't say it's not.
Benny,
that sounds like it's
you mentioned that you had played for Peter when he was assistant with the U20s. A lot of people may not know this, but that U20 team in 2005 was coming up against an Argentinian team that was led by a young phenom named Lionel Messi. And in that game, in the second half when Messi came on, Ziggy Schmid used you as a man marker. And it was, I remember watching it happen at the time, and then I was very happy to see you reference it in your retirement letter. Like, tell me, like, what did Ziggy say to you? And, like, did you understand at that point the type of player you were going up against on that day?
Yeah, so actually Peter will tell you a little bit of a different story on that. But Peter was the one that was in charge of Argentina during the scouting part. And so he was in charge of Argentina. I forget, Lapper was in charge of someone else. Harksey was in charge of someone else. Anyway, so Peter went and watched Argentina play and saw obviously Messi, but he came on a lot in the second half. And so he told Ziggy as soon as he saw that Messi was coming in at halftime, look, we need to get someone man marking this guy. And Ziggy's like, nah, we're winning 1-0. We're doing well. Let's just stay the same. And Peter's like, trust me, dude, this guy he's gonna ruin the game for us. We need someone.
He's better than Freddie Adu. He's slightly better than Freddie.
So Ziggy says, nah, we don't have to. First play, I don't even remember if it was off the kickoff, but literally like first minute of the second half, this guy gets a ball, dribbles everybody, almost scores somehow. But we managed to, we get lucky and he doesn't score. Ziggy turns to Peter and he's like, oh crap. Like one of those like looks, let's get someone on this, man. We got to man mark this guy. And I just remember during the game, like Ziggy kind of yelling. I don't know what the hell he was he was yelling about, but he kind of got the information off that, look, you mark that one guy over there. That's good. And so, yeah, so I as best I could, Messi goes all over the field, he's got a free role. And so it wasn't the easiest thing to just kind of run with him all over the field. I tried to some extent play in my position, but also realize whenever he's in a position to get the ball and be in a dangerous spot to try and slow him down to some extent. And it was crazy, man. I remember I can tell you honestly that I told several of my best friends, this is going to be the best player to ever play this game after that one half of soccer that I marked him. I'm dead serious on that. I said that this guy is the best player and will be the best in history. And I still stand by that. I think he is. I think he's better than Pele, Maradona, anybody. It doesn't matter who you talk about. Messi is the best ever. And I can tell you that we beat him 1-0. And in some instances, I got the best of him. So I'll take that.
What were the
legally as a Brazilian? Are you allowed to say that?
Oh, like I said, I'm honest, man. I don't care if I'm Brazilian. I'll tell you, an Argentinian is the best in the world.
Did I read correctly, Benny, that you represented the U.S. in the Maccabi games too?
Yes, I did. Before I became a pro. That's right.
I'm Mr. Al-Khai, baby.
The Wikipedia is absent of any detail. What was this? It was like you and Johnny Bornstein and Leo Krupnik, and then
yes, we so. I was playing in college at UCLA, and I had made the commitment to play with the Maccabi games in the summer of 2015. And then
2005 or 2015?
2005. Sorry. 2005.
I was like, whoa, Benny, trying to get younger on us?
Yeah. The years are getting to me. But 2005. So, and then, it was, I literally made it on the under 20s the first time come November, December of 2004. Where Ziggy called me in for the qualifying, and then I made it to the World Cup and was part of the roster. And then from there, I got recruited by professional teams, Hamburg, Kaiserslautern, Mallorca, and Heerenveen. And I went on those trips and eventually decided I was going to sign with Hamburg. But I told them, look, I had made a prior commitment to the Maccabi games, to the U.S. national team, to play, and if they would be okay with me playing in that, because I didn't want to go back on my word. And to be honest, I think I wanted to because it was going to be a lot of fun.
Just post up in Tel Aviv and hang out.
You haven't heard about the Maccabi Games Olympic Village, man. It's like,
yeah, for sure.
That's true. Nobody has. but
Except for Jewish mothers.
It was something that I wanted to do, and Hamburg was okay with it. So I think what I did was I didn't sign my contract because they wouldn't sign it unless, I have to take a physical, make sure I'm okay. And then my dad took an insurance policy in case I got injured at the Maccabi games. And then obviously I played, and I think we took funny story about the Maccabi games is I got suspended for the finals for 2 yellow cards in the quarters and the semis, which were ridiculous, but said I couldn't play in the finals. We lost to Israel, I think 2-1, if I remember correctly, in the finals. But anyways, after the Maccabi games, I went back to Hamburg, healthy, signed my contract, and finally played as a professional soccer player in Germany. So it was, funny story.
Guys, I played in the junior version of the Maccabi games, like the regional one in the U.S.
A lot of Jewish guys are calling me now and texting me, hey, now that you're retired, are you really ready to go back and play some Maccabi games? So,
they played till like 70 over.
Yeah. My dad played when he was over, maybe in his 40s, maybe. I don't know he played that late until 70s.
Yeah.
Over 40.
Yeah, you're looking at 40 pretty soon.
I won a gold medal. I beat Montreal in the final. Boom.
What is that? Is that cities or Pan American or what?
It's like there's multiple ones that happen around the world, and you just represent your closest JCC. And so like some countries only have one, like Venezuela, England showed up, stuff like that. And then I was Sid Jacobson JCC, baby.
Wow.
Muscle right there.
Impressive.
Benny, we're actually under a time crunch here. So we only have time for one more question, and it's going to be this one. The other day I tweeted out like the favorite U.S. national team games I've ever seen. Number 1 on my list was Germany. Number 2, the loss to Germany in the quarterfinals of the 2002 World Cup. Number 2 was the win over Spain in the semifinals of the 2009 Confederations Cup. That Spain team is, personally, I think that's the best national team I've ever seen. They had been on a 35-game unbeaten streak. You basically created the game-winning goal in that, or the second goal in that one, Clint's goal in that one. Right. Walk us through that game, prepping for it, what it was like going against that team, the mindset of the national team, and especially once you got out in the field.
Yeah, I think the craziest thing about that game is that we were playing against, like you said, the best national team I've ever seen as well, with the best run up to that game, and we had 2 losses and one win in the 3 games of the group stage. So theoretically, we shouldn't have had too much confidence going into that game. But it was just funny the way it's set up was we had like less than a 1% chance. We needed to win 3-0 and have Brazil beat Italy 3-0. And as much as we felt like, okay, let's do everything we can to beat Egypt, we didn't know what was going to happen on the other side. And so when everything fell into place and we went through, it was almost like, well, we literally have nothing to lose, right? We just somehow made it through when we probably shouldn't have. We had a good performance against Egypt. And now we're playing the best team in the world.
That was a great performance against Egypt. You guys steamrolled a pretty decent team.
Right. We played really well. And then we kind of went into Egypt. We went in with the same mindset against Spain in that we really had nothing to lose. Let's go out and obviously play to our strengths and set up the tactics that we did. But at the same time, we were just like, well, we're not supposed to win. We're really not even supposed to be here. Let's see what we can do. And man, in the beginning of the game, the tactical approach was obviously, give up space. We're going to sit deep. We're going to allow them to do the things that they're good at, but not close to our goal. Let's limit the amount of chances that we give them. And then we got a team that can counter. Charlie was playing at a ridiculous level. He played next to Josie, who's a good person to play with the speed and the strength and holding up the ball and people being able to run off of Josie. And then you got Landon and Clint on the wings who, are both goal scorers, can get into the box, can create that, that second runner. And so we had a team that was built for the counterattack, and we started realizing in that game how efficient we could be in that role. And so I remember the first, and I think it was Sasha that told me, he's like, dude, I think we're going to beat Spain. And I'm thinking, I don't know why. Yeah, fine. We all think like we're going into a game like we think we're going to win kind of thing. But why would you think that? They're the best team in the world. And he said that, and as the game went on, the first 10 minutes, all right, we haven't given up anything, we haven't given up any chances, we look good, whatever. For 20 minutes, the goal comes in the 20-something minute.
Yep.
Josie's goal, and we're like, what the hell's going on here? You know, it's like we're up 1-0 and we haven't, and we've looked like, I wouldn't say the better team, but we're playing better. You know, tactically, we're not giving up anything. We've had some chances going forward. We took care of one of them now. Let's keep playing the way we're doing, and it keeps on going. It keeps on going. Keeps later in the game, and you just start going in confidence and believing more and more. And Bob puts me in the middle of the second half, and I get that opportunity. I mean, the ball kind of pops out of nowhere. Michael makes a good play on the ball to kind of poke it free. It comes out to the left. Sergio Ramos overcommits. I'm able to take a touch inside, and then they're kind of disorganized. And also in a game where you're only attacking, which is what they were doing for most of the game, you forget a little bit about, like, you're not concentrated enough on the little few moments that you have to defend. And so I kind of get through the defense kind of easily with just one little fake. I get around Puyol and Piqué, and then
it's like Sergio Ramos.
Oh my God, this is like a laundry list of names. Sergio Ramos, Puyol,
was it Capdevila?
Just gliding right past Puyol and Piqué. You know,
he kind of gets he doesn't know where to go, and then I slip Landon, and I wanted Landon to shoot. I wanted Landon to go in and try and shoot.
We all did.
Right, and then he goes and crosses it, and it wasn't like the best cross, but he put it in a dangerous area, and sneaky Clint just gets in behind Sergio Ramos and pokes it in. But the whole game, and then once you get that, you're thinking we actually are going to do this now. I mean, it's 2-0. We haven't given up any chance, and I don't remember them even getting that many chances afterwards. Even
No.
So yeah, we that game was the reason why I think that game is the most impressive is because I've never been part of a team, and you can push this even into the Brazil game, even though we didn't win that game. The first half was exactly the same as the whole game against Spain. And we knew exactly what we were. We were very good at doing what we were good at, and we got results from it, albeit in a very short period, right? We won 3-0, won 2-0, we won 2-0 in the first half of Brazil. So 2.5 games, we were playing at a ridiculous level. And so for me, that was the most impressive moment of my national team career with the national team in terms of
I still
how well
remember
we were playing,
that
how
game and watching it.
effective we
I had to tape it. I had to work. And I remember getting home from work, telling nobody tell me what happens. Nobody say anything. And my roommates ruining it for me. And still then watching it, and just when Josie scored, still even knowing that it would happen, even knowing that it was coming, just running around my college house, just screaming, punching things. I mean, it was one of the moments that really cemented this sport for me. So thank you for that moment, Benny. Benny is retired, if you didn't figure that part out. So if you want to holler at him, get at him on Twitter. Benny, anywhere else? How can people, I don't know.
Just Twitter. I'm on Instagram a little bit less than Twitter, but trying to up that a little bit. But and then BSI the
subscribe.
Podcast, dude. That's where it's at.
Do the same for Extra Time. That's it for us. We're gonna put out some videos later today. We're gonna do Mount Rushmores for every single team, and we're gonna do the greatest MLS team of all time. Somehow we're working on a little March Madness bracket action for you. We did not get to very much mail other than the very long expansion teams that we enjoyed a lot. Between Boise, Baltimore, and Juneau, Alaska, Benny, where are you going to go play? Boise, Juneau, or Baltimore?
Wait, give me those options again.
Boca Juneau.
Ooh.
Just throwing that out there.
He's Brazilian, dude.
I'll pick Baltimore just because I can watch my Ravens play.
Fine.
There we go.
401-206-0MLS,
team, Benny.
extratime@MLSsoccer.com. Hit us with all your mail.
Benny, I have your jersey up on my background.
I see that.
That's
What
a
about
media marketing worn Benny Feilhaber jersey.
which one? What the LAFC one? What's the name on the back of
Just
that
lied
one?
and said
No
that was
name on the
Benny.
back.
No name on that one. All right.
Yeah.
Well,
The
that
only
looks
name
good.
on the back
Oh,
of
and-
any is your number
That's
10.
a pretty one. I think that's a
the epic year for
2015
Benny too.
one as
And
well.
there's the text from producing Anders saying he's going to kill us
The
if
good
we
old
don't
days.
stop this show. Thanks for listening, everybody. We'll see you on Monday. Enjoy your weekend. Watch MLS Classics, YouTube, everything else. Stay safe.
Wash
stay
your
healthy.
hands.
Benny, thank you so
Your
much,
elbow.
man. We'll see you next time.
Face.